What is up, everybody? It's Kelpsy, and today I'm going to bring you guys the top 5 things that I wish I would have known about when I started Elder Scrolls Online. So here's 5 things about the game that are crucial to making continuously playing easier and better later on, that if you start early, it just helps. And number 1 is something I personally find to be probably the most important thing in the game, and that's mount speed. So once you get a few levels in, you will get a mount. And with this mount, you will be able to ride around the world, making things much easier to get to. But at the beginning, it is not very fast. And in Elder Scrolls Online, the only way to get it faster is to visit a stable master. And they are on your map with the little horse head. You talk to her, you view the stable, and then you pick what to level up. Always level up your speed first. I know so many people that do speed, stamina, and carrying capacity evenly. That's how I did it when I first played on Xbox. Don't do all 3 at once. Do speed, carrying capacity, and then stamina. I'm going to show you why. You don't want to do all 3 at once, because when you go into your champion points and you go into the green, there is a thing called War Mount, which improves your mastery with mounts, removing all stamina costs outside of combat. Now, yes, this is a little bit further up the tree than some of the lower items, but when you have that, that eliminates the need for stamina. And for most places in the world, you aren't even going to use half of the base stamina getting from place to place. As well, when you're in Cyrodiil, stamina will come into play, but from here to here is typically the furthest you're going to be running, and although that is a little bit further than your base stamina will take you, once you have War Mount, that it will not matter because your stamina won't be being used because you're not in combat for most of that, or typically when you're doing that. So mount speed is the most paramount. The number one, the one thing I say you should focus on early game is mount speed. One extra part I'd like to add that I forgot to add on to my original point about mount speed is go into Cyrodiil and do the intro quest, and you will get to level 3 in the Alliance War. Go into the Assault and go to the first continuous attack. You only need 1 skill point for this, and you'll get Major Gallop, which increases your mount speed by 30% right off the bat. That will make you feel dynamically faster at the beginning. It is well worth it. At level 10, just load into Cyrodiil. There will be a guy right at the front gate. Talk to him. He will teach you how to use Siege. Do not skip any of it, because if you skip it, you won't get the XP. But if you do the whole thing, you'll get to level 3, which allows you to get continuous attack. It is well worth it, even if you don't want a PvP, I promise. Number 2 is not as exciting as some other things in the game, but is something that takes so long that I highly recommend you getting into it as early as possible, and that's crafting. Now, crafting is a pretty big part of Elder Scrolls Online, because once you get to the end game and even the mid game, having the right traits on your weapons is big. So like, you can look here, that weapon is charged, those are powered and sturdy. These are reinforced, well-fitted, reinforced, things like that, and those are traits, and you want to have your traits correct. Well, to get the right traits, you either have to have a crafter to craft the craftable items with the trait correctly. You have to have the luck, which I never have, to pick it up with the correct trait, or you have to transmute it. Well, to transmute, you need to go to a table. You need to have these gems, transmute crystals. But most of all, you have to know how to make the trait you want to make it, which means you have to know it. Now, here's the trick. When you go to a blacksmithing station or anything else, you click on research. As you can see, I have all of mine done. But each of these have to be researched separately. And when you're low level, you can only do one at a time. And they start out only taking a few real life hours to complete, but then the last one takes 27 days, even if you have an ESO Plus account, which shortens the amount of time. So altogether, this takes months to be able to do the whole line. And to get the best stuff, you want to always make sure you have all of these research. So that's months for daggers, great swords, etc. And that also includes all of your armor. And that's just heavy armor and metal weapons. You also have your crafting for clothing, which is light and medium armor, jewelry, and woodworking. So you want to start getting your researches done first, and you want to start getting crafting done as soon as possible. So whether it's a new character, you're going to make a crafter, you're just getting back into it after a few years, and you want to know some things to like get out of the gate right, make sure you're grabbing research and just pick up items that you grab off the ground. Like, I'm sure I this axe, I just got this from something. It's training. If I didn't have training, I would research this item. It breaks the item down in the process, but I picked it up. It's a trash item. I just picked this up. It's infused. So I would research these when I need them and keep moving. And that's why it's number 2, because mount speed's number 1, because being able to get places just makes things faster, easier, and to me more fun. But having the research done makes the mid to late game so much easier, because then once you get to the point where you want to have things on trait to get those high 100k plus DPS parses, or be a big contender in PvP, you'll be able to have the right traits and the right weapons, and it makes everything so much better. All right, now number 3 is something that is me more on explaining how to do it, and that's how to get more skill points. So when I first started out, I remember I was always in need of skill points, and it's because in this game, there's plenty of, you need these passives. There's 2, 4, 6, 8, 16, 24, and then you have all the skills, and each skill takes 1 skill point to have, and then another skill point to morph. And then you have all of your weapon passives, all of your weapon skills. So that's 2 per skill, typically 2 per passive, and then you have other passives, and even more passives, and even more skills. So and that's not even crafting. Look at all the skill: 8, 11, 14, 17, 20 skill points, 21 skill points just here. So if you have a crafter, you need even more. So where are you getting all the skill points? Well, here's a few places that you can get skill points very easily. First, I'm going to walk you guys through the fact that every major city has a harborage. This is where you do the main quest line. The main quest line is fantastic. It has professional, major movie star voice actors. It's a great skill. It's a great storyline. Now, it is dated, so like every time you do a mission, you have to run back into town because it's supposed to be spaced out across your 0 to 50, and that used to take a lot longer time. But every mission you do in the main storyline gives you a skill point. So every major OG city, like beginning city, has this. In Volkelgard for Aldemiri, it's right here to the right. Over here in Stone Falls for Ebonheart, it's right there, right outside of Davin's Watch. And then in Glenumbra for Daggerfall, it is right there, right outside of Daggerfall. Now, that is a surefire source. Every mission gives you a skill point. There's a good amount of missions. Number 2 is dungeons. Every dungeon that you do the quest in will give you a skill point. So every single one of these is another skill point. All of them. That's a whole lot of skill points, and they're very easy to do. They all have a unique quest. You do the unique quest, you get a skill point, and that goes for every single character. Now, other than that, every zone has their own unique main story. And right here is the map indicator of what that looks like. It's a little fancy boy, I call them. And they look like the quest markers, which that's a blue one. They're always the same in like from Skyrim to here, the little quest markers. And the little fancy ones are like a little flag. And the fancy ones means once you do that whole section or that whole quest, you will end in a skill point. So that's a surefire skill point. Another one is if you look at the world map or just the zone map, you'll see these caves, and these are called public dungeons. Now, I have an add-on on mine, but when you look at it and you go inside of it, all of them have what's called a group event. And the base game group events are very easy these days. Characters are well overpowered for them. But all of those group events will also give you a skill point. So that's a skill point. Main quests are a skill point. The original main storyline is a skill point, and then I'm coming into Westfield because I haven't done it on this character. As you can see, these guys, which again, this is an add-on, so if you're on PC, get the Sky Shard add-on. If you're on console, sorry, you guys don't have access to those, but Sky Shards, every 3 will give you another skill point. So, public dungeons, no, actual dungeon quests, main quests, any quest that has a fancy flag, Sky Shards, and then of course, if you go into the Alliance War, every time you level up this bar, you will get another skill point for leveling up in the Alliance War. So those are other ways to get skill points, and very, very important and good ways to be able to get more skill points to fund your build and to keep moving. Number 4, about something that I really found to be enormously helpful, is the guild finder and the group finder. And I'm putting those together because I feel like they work best together. So when you open your tab up here, there's the group tab. And you can go to group finder. Now this is new, but if you click on it, you can queue up or join things that they're doing for a certain role. So I'm listed as a tank because this is my Nightblade tank. Technically it's a PvP character, but I've been tanking in the event. Sue me. And this guy's looking for a tank and a healer for Veteran Castlethorn. So if you're looking for a monster mask for your new build, if you're just wanting to do certain dungeons or you're just wanting to go have fun, these are always looking for people to do stuff. It's great to either make a post, which you can do that by clicking, I think up here, refine your search, all dungeons. Oh no, right there, create. So you click create. You ask people to join. You say what you want to do. Random dungeon, Arcs Corinium. You want 4 people. You can even pick, I want to be the only tank. I want 3 damage dealers. Like, you can do anything you want. It's a great tool. And also, there's the OG Dungeon Finder. Now, I'm considering this whole thing the group finder because this is what we used to call it. So Dungeon Finder, you can literally click on this. Make sure you select your role. If you are newer to the game, please pick a role you're ready for. All normal dungeons, normal base game dungeons, are very easy. They're very easy. Pretty much everything up here, up till here to Vault of Madness, all of these guys are all crazy easy. You can tank those pretty easily. There's no crazy one-shot mechs. There's nothing that's going to be mind-bending. And if you have even one higher level character in the run, it's going to be a breeze. I promise. Don't be scared to do it. But use the Dungeon Finder, pick your role, load in, have fun, get the skill point, get the XP, and also these things, when you do a random, which I suggest doing, you get an XP bonus. So you get a big XP bonus. Mine's blue right now because I already did one earlier, but like, here you go. I'd get 101,000 XP. Now, of course, it's because I'm champion point, but you get a big XP bonus. This is what I constantly do when I am leveling a new character. I will always make sure to get the dungeon bonus, the battlegrounds bonus every day that I can. Tales of Tribute bonus is another big XP bonus, but I hate Tales of Tribute, so I don't play it. Personal preference, but those two are big. Now, to move on to the Guild Finder. Guild Finder, I'm in a bunch of guilds. You go to Guild Finder, you browse the guilds, you come up here, say, we're casual boys, we want a PvP, additional filters, all Demiri, because the other two are fucking animals. And this is casual Aldemiri PvP guilds. Like, the Guild Finder is great. This can help you find your exact group you want to play with. It can make the game feel so much more alive and full. I highly, highly, highly suggest joining a guild. And if you want to make money, join a fishing guild. These guys are fucking funny. It's hilarious. And fishing makes so much fucking money. And I've made a bunch of, like, longtime friends in fishing guilds. So check them out. Join a guild. Use the group finder. That's number 4. When I first started playing, we didn't even have the group finder or the guild finder. You had to just go find guilds in Belkarth by begging for invites. It was a tough time, but join a guild, use the group finder. It's fun as shit. It's going to get you XP, friends, and just a lot more of a support system right there at your fingertips while you're playing. Now, last but not least, it's decisive because on half of it, Not everyone's going to have access to this, but on the other half, you all have access to part of it, and this is add-ons and Tamriel Trade Center. Now, add-ons, I use a thing called Minion. I'm bringing it up now. Bang! Minion is a third-party app that actually holds all of my add-ons. This makes things awesome. I have combat metrics, so I can be in here, and I can just open up how much damage I've been doing. I've got every Sky Shard, lore book, every world boss. My map's already filled out. I know where it is. If you don't have add-ons, you know exactly what I'm talking about when I show you this. If I would have seen this on Xbox, I'd have been furious. The fact that I can see where everything is makes the game mind-bendingly quick to collect and do things. And the biggest part that I use it for is stuff like this, where you can see at the bottom there, it tells me how much these things sell for. Now, if you are on console, which I know a lot of you are, don't be so upset because we have a way around this. Now, you guys don't have the ease that is add-ons, but you still have access to Tamriel Trade Center. So here's Tamriel Trade Center. Get online, look up Tamriel Trade Center. Click on Xbox. This is now Xbox. Like, there's ads everywhere. It's awful, but you pick NA, EQ, PlayStation, Xbox, PC, and get on here and look up what you want. Oh, you want to see, let's say you're looking for deadly daggers. Deadly daggers. Deadly dagger. Search it. It's going to tell me where they are and when it was listed. How much it was for, who listed it. Let's sort it by price. I want a cheap one. 42k, 39 minutes ago, high aisle. Do you know how long I played this fucking game? And the people that I was playing with taught me to just go to fucking Grotwood and walk up and down and check every single trader before I learned about this through someone in a guild that was like, why aren't you just Googling it? This changed my life. You can get things so cheap, so easily. Just go and pick it up. Now, don't get me wrong. There are people that hunt this fucking site. That dagger is going to get bought quickly because it's so much cheaper than the others. But if you find something that's like regularly posted, dude, that add-on changed the game for me. And that's just how it is. Like, that add-on blew my mind. So if you're on PC, get Minion app, get the add-ons, get Hodor's reflexes for groups and trial stuff, get combat metrics so you can see what your combat metrics are. If you look at my lazy sort build, you'll see that I can bring up that big fancy window at the end of my parse. That's from combat metrics. Get Squishy Finder so that when you're playing like I am and you run up and you want to see if somebody is squishy or not, it will tell you when you target them. Like, there's plenty of stuff you can download. It all helps so much. Check out the add-ons, and if you're on console and you don't have a chance to get on anything else, get on Tamriel Trade Center. It will save you so much fucking time. Now, I know I said I was doing 5 things, but I wanted to make a few honorable mentions. First and foremost being the respec shrines. So if you look at the map, there's shrines, and it's Auriel, Mara, and Stendarr. And Stendarr lets you respec your skills and the morphs. And Auriel lets you respec your attributes. So if you're ever like, oh, I'm a tank, I want to switch up, you can go and save your build at the armory corner, which is free in the crown sword to put in your house. Save your setup, come here, swap everything around as much as you want. It's very cheap, it's very easy. Every major city has them. It's all 3 capitals, and I think every major city from DLCs. So here's Grotwood. That's for us Aldemiri. For Daggerfall, it's here in Wayrest, which I feel like Daggerfall should be the capital of Daggerfall Covenant, just personally. And I think the main capital for is Ebonheart. Ebonheart? It's clearly not. It's Mournhold then, right? Who knows? Yep, bang, right there. So all 3 have these respec shrines, as well as major cities and DLCs like Vivek City. It's right there. And so whenever you go, you can just go here and respec. And when you respec, it just makes it so much nicer. You can change up your builds whenever you want. And for a long time, I thought it was locked behind those crown store scrolls, and it was a pain in the ass until I met someone through a guild, and they taught me that you could do it this way. So first honorable mention is, of course, the respec shrines. Honorable mention number 2. Now this has a lot more to do for you console players rather than PC. So if you get on the map, or at least when I have my map, you'll see I have this side window. This is Beam Me Up. This is an add-on that you can get from Minion or just online, and it lets you travel to any of your friends that are online, including in big guilds, and there are massive guilds just called Beam Me Up guilds, which are literally for this. So let's say I want to go to, I don't know, Cragorn, bang, there's someone in Cragorn, I can travel to it. And there's little things like this, automatic way shrine discovery, and it literally just makes you jump around to every available way shrine to try to unlock all of them, and you'll do this on your characters. Now let's say you're on console, so you don't have that add-on. Easy. These carts right here. Now, they're marked on the map, and a lot of people just still don't use them. They just think that they're like old parts of the game, and they are. But this is how you used to travel to other zones before we had Beam Me Up or people that just don't want to use the add-ons. Like that takes you to Western Skyrim, Necron, High Isle, Skingrad, Blackwood, Sinchal. Like every DLC zone has a cart in your major cities that will take you to that DLC zone that you can just grab on a new character and go. And all of those are there. And then over here, as you can see, there's a bunch of other places. It'll take you to all of the other countries within your alliance from that city. It'll take you to Cragorn, everything. Everywhere within your alliance. So it takes you to every DLC in every alliance controlled area. And then you'd have to, of course, go to another alliance capital to find their carts, but there's a caravan there, and I don't know where all the caravans are for those guys are. They could be anywhere, to be totally honest with you. I am not familiar with the other alliances that much, but the carts are a great point, especially for you console players who don't have access to the Beam Me Up add-on, or if you're trying to RP. This is how you're supposed to do it. So, carts are number 2 honorable mention. Another big honorable mention that I'd like to point, and I'm going to do these both in rapid succession because they're right next to each other, is number 1, the pack merchant. Of course, he can't sell anything because I've bought them all, but this is how you expand your base inventory. You just buy them from this guy. They get progressively more expensive, but you can buy a shit ton from them. And also, you can buy more bank space from the banker. I don't think I can, I can't buy anymore because I have maxed, but I have 480 bank space, 200 inventory space. So you can be like me and be a pack rot over a bunch of shit. And from the same banker, as you see when I clicked on it, you can access the guild store. So you can sell in your guild from the bank. I cannot tell you how long I was playing this game with a limited amount of people, and I was going to our physical guild store before someone asked me why the hell I was doing that, and you could just access it through a bank. It makes selling in guild traders so much easier. Always join a trading guild, always selling a guild trader to make a bunch of extra money, but don't go there physically. Use a base banker. It doesn't work with the purchase crown store banker that shows up on like right up to you, but you have to go to a physical in-game banker, but that's how you can easily access the guild store. So these honorable mentions are expand your inventory through pack merchant, buying bank space, and then of course there's the also carrying capacity from the horse, but also bank space. Using the bank to go to the guild store makes that so much easier. Now the last honorable mention I'm going to make before we end this video is the wonderful land of Cragorn. Now Cragorn, when I first started playing, was like the end game overland content. It was really tough for at the time. I would get beat up walking through here. A lot of the enemies, they are stronger. So if you're brand new, the overland content here is much harder than it is in, say, Oradon. But number 1, it's worth it because there's just better stuff here. There's a lot of sets, like Way of Fire comes from here, and it still is extremely viable in a lot of contexts. It's completely broken in PvP still. But the big thing here is that I don't have the zone chat up because I don't want to get flagged on YouTube because sometimes it gets a little wild, as you know from zone chat if you've played an MMO. But zone chat here is, and there's not a lot of people here right now, but it is pretty lively. And zone chat here a lot of the time is people pugging for trials and dungeons and just group content. A lot of the older players come here to pug into trials and group content because this is where we used to do it, because all of the original trials were here in Cragorn. And also, a lot of the people that farm materials farm them here because, and I'll show you my craft bag, this is where Nirnhone stuff drops. So when you pick up materials here, you have a chance of getting potent Nern Crux, which is down in price. See, this used to be like almost 100k a piece, but you have a chance of getting potent Nern Crux, which is 30,000 a piece, and fortified, which is about 5,000 a piece. And that can drop from any mats that you pick up here. So if you're just farming iron walking through, you still have a chance to get these high ticket items. So Cragorn is a good place to go to either A, watch zone chat and look for pug groups forming, or B, farm your items here so that you can also join those pug groups that are forming, because it's just a really viable zone to do both at, and it's a lot higher passive money picking up resources here while waiting for something to pop, rather than picking them up in, say, Grotwood or Wayrest, because of the fact that, well, you're not going to have a chance of getting those Nirnhone there. They only drop here in Cragorn. But those are my honorable mentions, and tacked on to the 5 things that I wish that I had known coming into Elder Scrolls. And I hope you guys can take this information and really enjoy the game for what it is, because it's a fun game. It is a very big MMO that's still growing, still expanding, and it's an interesting game that's different than all of the other MMOs due to the combat and the population and everything else. So thanks for checking out the video. Thanks for hearing the tips. I hope these tips help you guys out, whether you're new, returning, or veteran player that just wanted to see what I had to ramble about. And as always, thank you guys so much for checking out the video. I will see you guys next time. Love you so much.